Opening day at Saratoga, it has arrived. One of the best times of the year for horse racing fans is the summer with Saratoga, with Del Mar, with the big racing meets that open. And DRF has the Saratoga handicapping store this year to help you out with everything that you need. You can get packages for every racing day at Saratoga, or if you want to purchase things individually, but if you purchase them in bulk, you're always going to save some money. If you head to drf.com and look at the Saratoga handicapping store, you can get the formulator packages for formulator past performances. Those are the ones that we're going to dive into right now as we look at opening day. I'm going to go through the opening day card right now, share some of my thoughts, give some of the ways I'm looking at approaching wagering on the card. Maybe you need help with the clocker reports. Think about that. Baby races, young races, 2-year-olds. You need a little help there. We've got clocker reports at DRF every racing day there for Saratoga. You can buy in bulk. You need help with the betting strategies. You can see how David Aragona and Mike Beer are going to approach playing the races at Saratoga. Two fantastic handicappers that know the New York circuit as well as any. Do you need some help? You can get some help from them. Maybe you want the daily picks selections and analysis for each and every day, different from the betting strategies. The Wizard Saratoga products, everything you need for Saratoga at the Saratoga shop, and even just those DRF formulator past performances. Now let's dive on in and take a look as we will take a look at opening day card at Saratoga. And we're going to look at those daily racing form formulator past performances. Saratoga starts on Thursday. As I am recording this on Tuesday, there are already the Thursday and the Friday cards that are out. So we like to take a look early on. Hopefully we can throw a couple lobs your way, or maybe we can lead you to a couple horses that maybe weren't on your radar that you'll throw into some of your exotics along the way. Pick 5 kicks off in race number 1 on Thursday in the opening race of the meet. It's a first level allowance. It's an optional 50. And just looking at the board in here, I thought the 6 was probably going to be the one to beat. This is a horse who I'm sort of intrigued by in this spot at this level. From a gambling standpoint, I don't know what kind of value we're going to get from her, but she was very good early on in her 2-year-old year, and then she's just been in stakes races against pretty tough company since. Has she taken the step forward and progressed? Well, the first start of her 3-year-old season said she did in the 8 bells just based on her figures. And then last time out, she got caught behind a slow pace in a race where Hoosier Philly was just walking the dog on the front end. So she'll be in the mix for me in pick 5s and stuff, because I think this is going to be a good spot for her. Third start of the form cycle. She gets Lasix. Like, if she's got a good effort in her, it'll be in this spot. From a wagering standpoint, the one that intrigues me the most is probably the 4, and that is Honey Money, who is getting some class relief here. This is a softer spot. 2 starts back, she was in a match race, so it looks worse on paper because she was behind. She just ended up being beat by 20 lengths in a race where she was against a horse that's faster than her. And her form really fits with this group. In particular, the race that jumps off the page is the one that you see in Aqueduct back in December, where she beats Bustin Bay pretty handily. She has a nice running style. She should be forwardly placed. I imagine she's going to be, on the front end, probably even here stretching out to the 1.125. But I don't think she's a need the lead type, but she just will be more forward in this race. And then you kind of go through the field. There's not really proven front runners, right? So she's not a need the lead type, but you just sort of project her to be on the lead here going farther. I mean, this is a horse who's got like legitimate sprint speed. She's quicker naturally than most. So I think she's going to be forward. The one virtual reality should also be close up early on. She was fine in her debut. She had to take back from the inside. She kind of got stuck in a bad spot. She backed up. She ended up losing 3 lengths. She had to tip out wide, and she got going late. Visually, she sort of looked like a horse who longer would be better, because she just was really getting going and starting to get some momentum built up at the very end of that 7 furlong race. I don't know I don't know if her price is going to be great. I mean, she fits with this group. She's still going to have to improve and will likely be shorter than that. So while she wouldn't shock me, I just prefer the upside of another horse who I think will be forwardly placed, like the 4. This is a 9-time winner, Honey Money, who's proven at Saratoga. So 4 and 6 are going to be the two that I use the most. I mean, the 5's obviously a player here. Linda Rice is just in fantastic form right now, and Busted Bay is in really nice form. No real knocks on her. Just overall, I like a couple others more at the prices they will be, but she's like the measuring stick for this race. She's the one they'll have to beat. Those would probably be the 4 horses that I'm the most intrigued by in here. Honey Money as the value, no real knocks on virtual reality, just not the price that I think I want for her in here. Same could be said for Bustin' Bay. The 6 could be a little bit intriguing to me, maybe some upside in this spot. Let's move along to race number 2. So this one's a maiden special weight. We have 2-year-old fillies and a bunch of first-time starters. What's nice about the DRF past performances, you can take one click at the dam, and then you'll get a look at the pedigree here. So class of 63 was the dam of Classy Mischief. You can see her career. You can see the siblings, one of them, 63 caliber, grade 3 winner. We just saw finished 3rd in the Lady Jacqueline in a race on Ohio Derby Day over at Thistledown. We also see Gunmetal Gray, who's a graded stakes winner, 63 caliber, graded stakes winner. Not a bad little pedigree. Both of them broke their maiden in their second start. And you see 5 winning siblings. There's one of them that won first time out, Tale of 2. So what you do notice is with a lot of these horses winning early or winning in their second start, there is some precocity here in the one. So it's nice that you can sort of look at those things with DRF formulator past performances. You can also take a look at Norm Cassie, see how he's done with first-time starters, or any way you want to quantify that even more. Sometimes you just want to look and see how they've done with first-time starters overall. Then you can look at 2-year-old first-time starters at Saratoga, sprinting, whatever you want. I'll sort of take a look at the big sample for this one, just 14 for 129, so around 11% or so with first-time starters over the last 5 years in a 5-year sample size. This particular runner looks pretty live, though. It's based on the work tab. Overall pedigree, no knock. She's 5-2. It's not like I'm telling you anything you don't know about her. Clearly a test. The dam of this one was an 8-time winner, earned $400,000. Barn is one with 10 of their last 78 first-time starters, 13%. I thought the 4 was an interesting horse. The dam, Rat-a-Tap-Tap, won the debut. She was pretty honest. She just didn't win a whole lot and like put it all together all the time. But she was in some good races. And she was graded stakes placed. Rat-a-Tap-Tap has produced 2 other foals to race. Juilliard, who has won 2 races. Double Thunder, who is a 4-time winner, who actually won the first 2 starts of his career, 3 of the first 4, and is a graded stakes winner and grade 1 placed. So a little bit of class, a little bit of precocity. So when I'm looking at first-time starters and in a race like this where you have a bunch of horses who haven't run all that much, I'm just trying to check the boxes. That's really what I'm doing as a gambler overall, as a handicapper. I'm not looking for like one thing here and there. I'm looking for a bunch of things. And, for me in this race, I think Soka, pretty intriguing because the pedigree is solid. Dam that won early. Dam that had some class. 2 siblings, both multiple winners. One of them won the first 2 starts, showed precocity. First-time starters, Todd Pletcher, 23 for 137 with first-time starters at 2-year-old firsters at Saratoga over the last 5 years. He was only 4 for 31, though, last year. I do think the price is probably going to be right on Soka. She fits quite well for me. I prefer her, actually, over the other Pletcher who has experience, the one who hooked the wet track over at Monmouth. We can completely excuse it because of that, but I do like Soka a little bit better. Lady Moscato is the 6. I thought the race at Ellis Park was pretty good. It was a fine start. Was third. Was a couple lengths off. Moved up just behind the leader. This one's a half to a grade 1 winner named Salty. 4 of her 7 siblings won, and she already showed some ability. I think she's a player in here. Sugar High's Dam was unraced. 11% for first-time starters with Mott over the last 5 years. 8% with firsters at Saratoga. She's okay. No real knocks on her, just don't love her. Didn't really get to either of the outside 2 all that much. For me, I had 4, 6, 2, and then 7. Could get to Sugar High if she is in that 6, 8 to 1 range. No knocks on her. Solid pedigree. Mott definitely capable of winning first out with the right type. It's not what he does well, but with the right type of horse. I think the horse has ability. I could probably be a little more intrigued in her maybe second time out. But if she is 8 to 1 range, I have no problem throwing her in like an early pick 4, pick 5. Lots of 4, 6s, 2s in the mix for me in the second. Race number 3, 5.5 on the turf, $35,000 non-winners of 2. I'm going to go to the outside. There are going to be a lot of horses in the like 4 to 5 range in this race. I could see the 1 in that range, the 4 Smoking Hot Kitty, a late running sprinter. Could see that happening with the 6 being in that price range. I actually like the 8 and the 9. I think the 8 has a chance to clear this field. If anyone can go wire to wire, it's the 8, Liana B. The 9, Lena Wright. I just think this is where she fits. Her career makes sense to me. Her first few starts, she faced a little tougher. Then she had time off. She showed back up. Since then, she's gradually improved in each of her 3 races, and I can see her continuing to improve. I think she's in a good spot here. So 8 and 9 for me, the major plays. I mean, I don't really have knocks on horses like the 4 and the 6. I just like others more that are a little better prices. So those are the horses I'm going to build a lot of the stuff around, the 8 and 9. Move into the 4th race. This one's a mile and a 16th on the turf. It's an optional 80. The 6 horse to me is the most intriguing in here. That is California Queen, who's going to be able to put 2 starts together now. There's a lot of races where she has a race, then time off, race, and then time off, race, and then time off. And I love when you see that and the horse finally gets to put 2 starts together, sort of build that fitness level back up. I think California Queen will be sitting in a really nice spot from the outside. And I think California Queen I think she's the horse to beat in here. Honestly, the entry will give you good 2-for-1 action. Like, I'm not as high on Salima. She's absolutely talented and she could win. I might be a little, and maybe I'm just wrong in this race, but I'm going to be a little cold on her here. I prefer the 1-1A and the 6 to her. Messiador is another one I think is going to sit a pretty good trip in here. She strung together 4 really nice races last year, including one of them here at Saratoga in a really similar spot. That race would be very, very tough against this group, the one she ran on July the 27th last year. And then she's 3rd in the Noble Damsel. In November, she doesn't really fire, but that's the first start off the bench. She comes back on May and in June, and both of those races are sprinting. So now she stretches back out, 2 sprints, stretching back out to a route, making the 3rd start of the form cycle. I think she's going to be ready for a big one. So I prefer some of these horses who I think maybe have their prep out of the way. Of course, Chad Brown can get a horse ready to win off a long layoff like this. I just like to see it, I think, more than taking the short price off the bench like this. 6-3, and the entry for me will take a little shot against Salima, and so I've definitely put her right into the winner circle. As we move to race number 5, these are some of the more difficult races I have a time with at Saratoga. These like $20,000 claiming races going longer, like a mile and an eighth. I don't really have too much creative to give you in this particular race. I wish I did, because it's not as if I trust the favorites all that much. You have a couple big droppers, right? You've got both Portos and Ollie My Boy. Ollie My Boy was claimed for 50 and is in for 20. One for 62.5 at Keeneland, just 2 starts back, and is in for 20. And you have Portos, who was in the Brooklyn last time out, takes a big drop down in class. So those two, not in the best of form, big drops down in class coming off of lackluster efforts. Ollie, my boy, wasn't his win was just 2 back, right? It's not as if it was a long way back for Ollie, my boy, the 4. Those two are what make this race difficult because either one of them could err, either one of them just couldn't show up. So I think I like the horses who I feel are the best fits around this level, which to me are the 2 Dust Devil and the 9 who come out of the similar race. That was on June June the 25th. I actually like the 9, I think, best in here, 235. 235 has speed, one of the quickest in here, drawn to the outside so he can sit off a little bit if he has to. We've seen him win at this trip, so going a mile and an eighth, it's not like it's his best, but he can get the trip and he can get the distance if he's in the right spot. And he had a fine start inside. He was 3rd or 4th. He was tucked in. I think he was just a little bit flat late, and I could see him being closer, either on the lead or just sitting right in a good spot and falling into it from the outside. The number 9, 235. He was a winner at 25. They tried 50. A little too tough. 32. He's just continued to sort of descent down the class ladder, but he does feel like he fits here because he's been competitive in a lot of these races. So I'm going to lean 9 and 2. What do you do with both the 4 and the 6? And that's what's I don't like this race, and it's a brutal race for the end of the pick 5 because I wish I could feel stronger about some of these other long shots. If you're watching this and you see some horses out there that are bigger prices that you like a little bit, please let me know. I want to throw 1 or 2 in. Can we get to the 10? A horse like this who comes into a really good claim barn for the first time? Maybe. Nobody in here scares the heck out of me. I didn't love any of these bigger prices enough. Silver Dust, can we get to this one coming into the Barkley barn? Can we get to, Mount Travers? I don't know. Let me know. Lots of 9s, lots of 2s in here. For me, as we get to race number 6, start of the late pick 5. This one was a little tough too because you got 5 horses exiting the June 17th race. And then you have the 2 running with Scissors, who was a winner at the level on April 27th, beat Open Company on May 4th. And so is now right back down in this spot. And if he shows up with one of those types of efforts, he'll be pretty tough. But he's been defeated by some of these rivals. You can see it's not as if he's unbeatable. It's just those particular races. If he comes back with something like those, he'll win. I thought Yarrow, with the blinkers on, getting off the rail, he got shuffled back in that same race. I mean, but that's the thing with Yarrow, with his running style. He does get himself into some trouble. He's the number 6. The blinkers come on. I wouldn't want to take any shorter than 4-1, but I think around that price, he's intriguing. Rough Draft's probably, the one to beat really with his running style. They're going to have to beat him. But if Running with Scissors shows up, he'll be tough. Another race I didn't love all that much. It couldn't really get you to an intriguing price. In the 7th race, it's a 50 starter, 7 furlongs on the dirt. This one, the 1, I think is a good spot for Mark Hennig. He claims this horse after a monster victory last time out, and that was when Into Happiness dropped in to a level to qualify her for this allowance race. She seems a really good fit in here, and she draws the inside. Can she just get a trip, right? Hopefully she doesn't get shuffled. I don't think she will be close enough to the pace to get shuffled, I'm hoping. You have the 11. There's another one who needs some money, who I like a little bit, coming in from Churchill. Visually, I like what I've been seeing. Her figures are a little light as of late, but she's been in tough spots and faced pretty tough company. So I'm 111, the 5 with the blinkers on, cutting back. Also in the mix for me here. But then after that, you can make lots of cases like the 10, Obregado's obviously a player for Linda Rice. She's been fantastic with these particular moves, bringing these horses from Kentucky over to New York. You've got the 8 Mersal, I think, as a price player, coming into the Dutro barn, first start off the claim. And the 3 is another one for me. I mean, the 9 Condiment Girl comes into the Diodoro barn first start off the claim. She was a monster winner. The 3 Miscreant. So once I get that past that top tier, I think it really opens up wide. But 1, 11, 5 in a lot of the mix for me. The 8th race, 50 starter going a mile on the turf. I went to the 12. This was the Linda Rice first start off the claim, Chileno. And this is another one. She claims from Kentucky. She brings over to New York. The Dam was a multiple grade 1 winner on the turf, and she's going to go immediately to the turf with Chileno. The Lone Sibling won on the turf. And the last 2 horses that Linda Rice claimed from Kentucky and brought her over to New York, both won. First start off the claim. She's been doing it with a ton of these horses. Chileno, the number 12 in the mix for me. I will be using the 6, Unleash the Power, major player here. The 4, My Sea Cottage. I mean, those are obvious contenders. This is a really fast guy, and he's going to be stretching back out. The 5, Kingfish Stevens. He's right in the mix. He belongs. Those would be my top tier. Then 2 and 3 would be the next group. If you're looking to go a little bit deeper, Born a Gambler would be no surprise. The 3, Front Man. I just sort of stack them on my preference. As we move to the Schuylerville, the 9th race, we've got a grade 3 for 2-year-old fillies. And I like the horses in races like this that have shown they can sit a little bit, because generally you're going to have a lot of horses that won in their debut showing just speed. So I'm looking for the 6, Closing Act. I'm looking at the 9, Dancing Diana, who did show speed, but visually she was really impressive at Delaware. And I got the sense that she looked like she was kind of doing it easily. She's drawn to the outside. I wouldn't be shocked if she could sit off the pace a little bit. I'm a little cold on Wine on Tap, the 7. I thought she got a perfect trip, so I might let her beat me in here. Both the 4 and the 5 are in the mix for me. Status Seeker, I think David Aragona made his Timeform US highlight horse and for opening day. And then the 5, Saratoga Secret, I thought she was visually pretty good. 2 path was Saratoga Secret was at Ellis Park. Status Seeker's figure was a little low, but she was kind of in between, and I liked what she showed. So 9, 6, 5, and 4 are the ones I'm going to build a lot around as we move to the closeout race. Race number 10, maiden 40 claimers, New York breds, a mile and a 16th. I'm going to go to the 6 horse is going to be really tough or the 7, excuse me, Arasema. She shows up with one of her efforts that she's had recently. She's dropping in class. The one that I like at a big price is Follow the Fed. His race or her race against Tougher, if you're just looking at the speed figure, her 57 buyer when she was facing Tougher wasn't bad. I think it shows that she might have a little bit of a ceiling to get to. Her June 15th race, she wasn't too far behind Pimanova, and Pimanova is going to be, I think, a little shorter price than her. Follow the Fed was sort of inside, in between, was in the 2 path, was in traffic, pushed back, lost 2 lengths, was back to 6th, again, got caught in between, got blocked, and I think it's a little sneaky here. So I'm going to use the 9 in the mix with the 7, 10 and 11, also for me on some deeper pick 4s and pick 5s to close out opening day at Saratoga, Thursday, July the 13th. Make sure to get to drf.com for everything you need there for Saratoga.